I'm Whitney.
And I'm Brian. And this is the Whitney and Brian Show. Today, guys, it's an A Day.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, Whitney. How's your day starting off today?
It's going pretty great. How's yours?
So far, so good. And now tell me, Whitney, what is today?
Today's the 28th of February, and favorite month is coming to an end.
February is your favorite month?
It is. I'm so sad. But now it's time for our monthly pillar.
Now for today's great monthly pillar, it's all about honesty. And the quote we have for today is, honesty is the fastest way to prevent a mistake from turning into a failure.
James Altucher.
Now with all that out of the way, we can move on to our weather. So Whitney, what's the weather like today?
Today's weather is going to be mostly sunny with a high of 88 and a low of 67.
Perfect. Now we can move on to our lunch. For today's lunch, there will be a picadillo, which is Spanish for ground beef, whole grain brown rice, baked fried plantains, stewed black beans, diced pears, and whole wheat Cuban crackers.
Delish. Now it's time for student news. Today we will be having the 10th graders do the FSA ELE writing. So good luck, all 10th graders.
Are any of you guys active on social media? If so, please see Miss Culligan in room 202.
Everyone, please don't forget the yearbook is still available, and you can purchase yours at www.yearbookcenter.org. Only the pre-purchased books will be handed out.
And now we can move on to our club news.
Today after school we will be having chess club from 2:50 to 3:50 p.m.
Also, after school in the cafeteria, there will be the Latin Dance Club.
Can't forget about SGA.
Never, ever, ever. In room 205 from 3 to 3:30. And of course, on March 15th, it is field day.
Woo!
Today is the last day to pay and to turn in your field trip forms. For more information, go to the school website or ask Mr. Johnson.
And that is all for our club news.
Roll the credits.
February isn't just hard to spell with its weird extra R in the middle, it also has the unfortunate distinction of being the shortest month of the year. But how come? Why is February only 28 days long? Let's find out on today's episode of Colossal Question. We have to go back to ancient Rome to answer this one. You see, the modern calendar we use in the Western world is based on the old, messy, inconsistent calendar the Romans used. Legend holds that Romulus, the very first king of Rome, implemented a 10-month calendar that began in March and ended in December. That's right, January and February didn't even exist yet. Since calendars were mainly used to help with the planting and harvesting of crops, winter became an unrecorded, nameless period of time. The next king of Rome decided it was time to fix the sloppy system started by Romulus. He better aligned the calendar with the lunar year, which is about 355 days long. He added the months January and February to the calendar after December to make up for all those new days, making February the last month of the year. But the king wasn't done tinkering with the calendar yet. You see, the always superstitious Romans believed that even numbers were unlucky. The king's solution? Try and make every month an odd number of days. The problem was, in order to have 355 days in a year, one month had to have an even number of days. Nobody's quite sure why February was the unfortunate month, but the most likely answer is also the simplest. February was the last month of the year. The second king of Rome finally had his calendar in place, and all was well and good. For a bit. Since it takes the Earth 365 days to orbit the Sun, and the calendar only had 355 days, after a few years, the seasons and the months would fall out of sync. By the time Julius Caesar arrived on the scene, Romans had no idea what day or month it was because the calendar was so screwy. So Caesar decided to get rid of the old calendar and make one of his own. He made the year 365 days long so that it lined up with the sun, shuffled a few months around, changed the names of a few months, and even named the month of July after himself. February, now in its rightful spot at the top of the calendar, still kept its 28 days. We don't know why Caesar kept February so short, but he'd probably have made it longer if he knew what was coming on the Ides of March.
That's all for today's news, Eagles.
Thanks for watching. Tune in tomorrow to see what happens next.
And as always,
Soar Eagles!
Bye.
You can catch me posted up with the gang.